Hoka, hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of May the 3rd, 2024. Mars Chronicles, Volume 5, The Trail of Refugees, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, Creek Indian from Denver, Colorado, and with me is Lee, and he is from Fountain, Colorado. How's it doing there, Lee?
Hey, going pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, we missed you last week, man, but good to have you back on.
Yeah,
or was you here last week? Maybe I'm losing it.
I can't really remember. I think I might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't either, really. So it is what it is, I guess. So how's the weather down there? I know it's pretty nice up here.
Bright and sunny, blue skies, a little bit of clouds, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's real nice. So yep, and I guess Angelus is running a little bit late, like he always is. And I've invited several other people, but it's sometimes they get in here late, but it's okay because we ascribe to chaos on this channel, so it's not a big problem. Yeah. Well, would like to say we got before we get into the topic, before we do anything else, just kind of remind who needs to be reminded that we have Rosa's Alita bust, from Queen Studios. This is a full life-size one-to-one scale image of Alita, and you can see it there on the left. Now, I have not taken this out of the box yet. If we ever do get to the point where we're going to present it to Rosa, because we all really love Rosa, that's for sure. She brought Alita to life, and we want to express our appreciation and admiration for a job well done on Alita. And we really want to give this to her, or not give it to her, but present it to her as an award. So for us, it's like an Oscar, giving her the Oscar. So, but anyway, I'm so sure that maybe she would appreciate it when she does get it.
Yeah.
And the Alita sequel petition, there you see it on the screen there. Just click on that, and it's down in the description. And click on that, and I think we've added quite a few from last week. I think something like 15, maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, I believe it was 15, I think. Anyway, I'm not real sure about that. But anyway, we added a lot more. The week before, I think we only added 2. So, that's good, where those numbers keep going up, and we're on our way to 200,000. We want Disney to know, and we want to keep reminding them that we want that sequel. And as a matter of fact, we want the sequels, not just a sequel. We want what James Cameron said last year, that he was working on the Alita sequels, and that's what we want. So if you haven't signed the petition, please do so. Just click on the link down in the description, and it doesn't cost you a dime. You just go there and click it, and you put your electronic signature in there, and we'll tally up that score till we get up to 200,000. And the Hero Arm campaign is still going on. Now, we haven't added any here in a couple of weeks in terms of money, but we're doing pretty well in the money department here. I think we got over 5,000. I think even about $5,200, I think, in change. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the account lately, but we have some money in the account. We're getting there, and we've already spent some money on that airplane that we did last year, the banner, and that cost us, I forget what that was, but we've got like $5,000 ready to go, and we need about 13,000, I think, to get some deserving individual a bionic hand. So, if you can, donate. No amount's too small. But if you can't donate, then if you see this in a post somewhere on social media, just repost it, and then you will have done your job for the Alita Army. Okay. So anyway, before we get started, got any revelations for us there, Lee?
I'm afraid not.
Okay, well, we're going to get into Volume 5 of the Mars Chronicles here. And if you remember from last week, I guess the soldiers had come into this little village, I guess, or town there on Mars and kind of wiped out the population. And they killed the self-proclaimed princess of Mars, Ninon. And, if you remember, she was dreaming toward the end of her life there that she was the princess of Mars and that kind of stuff. And then, of course, everything faded to black there. And the scene ended with Erica and Alita kind of crying over her, kind of thing, because she was dead, So pretty sad tale there, So that sets us up for this. So let me go ahead and get us started on that one. So anyway, this is kind of how this was working here. Now, you see a vision there, and this is a guy named Doss, and he's kind of like a cowboy, really, or a bounty hunter, or whatever he is. And he says there in that first frame, he says, "Phew, they sure shot that town to shit," which they did. They just came in there and just wiped out everybody in the town. He said the only thing still standing is the pumping station, and of course, kind of a chuckle, from him and whoever else was, there. I can't remember the individual's name, but he's in some kind of mech suit, I think. And then there they are, a little bit more of a wide shot, and there's an individual down there, the guy in the mech suit. Gosh, I can't remember his name. I think it comes up here in the next couple of pages, but it says, look like there's combats. Oh, and that's probably a translation thing. So he probably meant, looks like there's combat over there or something like that. And Doss then says, let's go take a look or go get a look, whatever. And then what they see is that there's some kind of like not a trackhoe, but some kind of bulldozer type thing. And what this bulldozer's doing is it's picking up bodies out of the town. They've kind of wrapped them up in these this linen type stuff, I guess, body bags, and they're dumping them, out in this lake, and it's going to be like a mass grave type thing, except it's not really going to be a grave, because what happens is that one of the soldiers there is going to shoot this chemical out into the lake, and what it does is it kind of decomposes the bodies down to the molecular level, so there's no evidence, that they were ever alive. So you see them, they're shooting that thing out into the lake.
It's like some kind of acid, I guess.
I'm sorry?
Like some kind of acid, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what it is. I didn't get the feeling it was acid. I thought it was more like some kind of biological decomposing agent, but they don't really say, so it could be acid for sure, And then of course, this guy. Yeah, go ahead. Did you want to say something there, Lee? Or?
Oh, I was just commenting. There's quite strong solvents in the world.
Yeah. It could be any kind of solvent for sure.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. But anyway, they're shooting this stuff out there in this lake, and the bodies begin to decompose or dissolve actually. And Doss runs up there and he says, "Hang on, gents," and one of the soldiers turns around with a gun. And he says, "Who the hell are you?" And of course, at this point, Doss is looking out there over the lake, and he said, "Oh shit, too late." And he said, there it is. That's enzymatic decomposition won't even leave bones behind.
Oh, okay.
So much for taking DNA samples, and then of course this guy, I don't know what his name is, says, "Yeah, but they'll make good fertilizer," and he kind of chuckles about it, and he says, "And it saves us the trouble of killing her," so he's referring to Alita there, or Yoko in this case. His name's Rocco, that's right. And so Doss says, "Use your damn brain, Rocco. We don't get paid unless we have evidence that the target's actually dead." And Rocco says, "Oh yeah." So they've kind of cheated themselves, or at least the soldiers kind of cheated them out of the actual bounty, I guess, that they were after by trying to get Alita, And so anyway, the commander of this squad, I guess it is, he says, "Who the hell are you people? Journalists?" And Rocco says, is that what we look like? Which, of course, they don't, you know. And then Rocco, you know, tells the commander, he says, we are actually looking for someone from this town. Would you happen to have a list of the dead I could peruse? And of course, he says, he kind of says, like what? You know, and he says, allow me to give you the answer you seek. There is no list. This was a complete and thorough massacre. It was the work of the Wind Corps. So, you know, in other words, or Corps, I missed that corpse, Corps. And we, the Palpage Corps, will see that this barbarity is punished. So evidently, I'm not sure where these guys come in. I don't know if they were the guys that actually wiped them out, or if he's just saying that because they are the guys that wiped them out, and they're trying to shift blame over to this Wind Corps, you know, I guess, which is the enemy of these guys, I suppose, you know. He says, that's all you'll get from me. If that answers your questions, get lost. And so, you know, Doss is kind of freaked out about it. And he's, you know, sits down and he says, son of a bitch, the bastard palmed my bribe. So anyway, well, actually, there's three of them there. I guess the guy Rocco is the one on the left, down in the left corner there. I don't know who the guy on the right is. He's in a mech suit of some sort. So they're sitting there, I guess, kind of, you know, pondering the fact that they're not going to get their money because they don't know that, you know, they think maybe Alita is dead, but they don't know for sure, you know, at this point. And this guy actually says, the guy in the mech suit, he says, thanks to Doss getting the location of our target wrong, we were able to avoid an unnecessary battle. So it's not all bad luck. And Doss says, what? Whoa. Like he said, did I just hear you cheering me up for my mistake? Oh, his name's Gilliton. That's right. Why, Gilliton? I'd swear you weren't the meanest son of a bitch I ever met. And of course, Gilliton says, don't call me that. And he says, Doss then says, but to get serious for a moment, the online database had signs of tampering. Somebody out here is trying to mess with us. And so I guess one of the other guys said, but I guess all that doesn't matter anymore. We lost our target. The mission's off. So in other words, they think at this case, well, all right, well, now we don't know where this Alita or Yoko is. So, you know, we're pretty much done. And I guess we just wasted a bunch of time and energy. So they're sitting there bitching about it, you know, that type of thing, and kind of thinking that they're a day late and $1 short, I guess. And then, of course, there's a, you know, kind of a call coming in on Doss's phone. He says, hello, I was just about to call you. He said, unfortunately, wait, what's that? And he said, hung on a moment, you know, and he said, hang on a moment. And he said, let me check it out right now. He said, this is Papagi Press. So anyway, it goes down to kind of, you know, talk about it, what it is. So we can report that the wind forces attacked and leveled the town of Mamiana. God almighty, I can't pronounce anything this morning. The cowardly wind miscreants slaughtered the helpless civilians, then fled to the southwest. And then, of course, I guess there's a picture that I think that's probably on Doss's phone. You know, he said there were just 2 survivors, young girls that our proud Palpage boys were successful in rescuing and taking into custody. Death to the rebels, glory to the Palpage, you know. And then Doss says they're alive. And then I guess Gilliton says the damn lucky brats, you know, because they were the only 2 that survived out of that entire town, Yoko and Erica. And then, of course, it shows some refugees that are on this road called the Tropkin Highway. And I think that's a road between Mamiana and I think Sidonia, I think. Oh, yeah, there's a sign up there on the left. So they're, you know, they're kind of heading that way. It's about 10 miles from where they were there in Mamiana. And then there's another town a little more distant, Curie-Stadt. Well, Stadt in German means town, so it's just Curie, I guess. And it's 310 kilometers away, which is about 220 miles, something like that, I guess. And so they're going to the closest town, probably Cydonia. And then we happen upon this, it kind of switches gears a little bit. And this guy here is he's a doctor, I think, and he kind of travels from town to town. He has this RV looking vehicle there, and he's driving it. Kind of an older guy, not as old as the creek, but he's old. So, and he's got Erica and Alita in the van with him, and they're traveling, to wherever this doctor's traveling. I think he's headed to Cydonia as well, So anyway, they're asleep in the back there. And they kind of wake up, and Erica says, "I'm hungry." And then this guy, I don't know his name. He says, "You're awake then." He said, "Let's stop the car and eat some lunch." So anyway, he pulls over the side of the road there, and you see the rest of the refugees that are kind of going, and he's going to give the girls this stuff that's kind of. I guess it's similar to Vegemite, I suppose. Let me see if I got somebody. I want to make sure there's somebody not trying to come in here. Lee, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were kicked out of the stream. I was over on the other tab, so I couldn't. I didn't know you were not in the stream. So anyway, sorry about that. So anyway, he's spreading this on bread, and it's a really black looking stuff, kind of like Vegemite. It's called B-mite. And Alita or Yoko says, "What's that black stuff?" And then Erica says, "It looks good. I bet it's chocolate spread, And then of course they say, "Let's try it." They both take a big bite out of it, and it kind of surprises them. To them, it tastes bad. I guess that would be the first reaction of Americans when or anybody else not from Australia eating Vegemite. They'd probably be, "Oh my God, this is horrible," type stuff, And I guess Erica says, "What is this, Dr. Whatever, This doesn't have a name there, but he said, "It's gross and stinky." And he goes, He said, "First time eating B-mite. It's quite good once you get used to it." He said, "You can't afford to be picky or you won't grow up big and strong." So in other words, they kind of accept the fact, I guess. And, I guess they continue to eat it. So anyway, they got their first experience there with what would be similar to Vegemite. So that's, it's kind of funny, I guess. And moving on, he says, "Say, doctor, what's this Mamiana place we're going to like?" And he says, "What?" He says, "I hope to make some new friends there." That's what Erica says, "Oh, yeah? You need to take a look at Yoko. She can't walk properly." And then he goes, she looks over at him, "Huh? When did you learn to walk, Yoko?" So she's up, so I guess she's learning. She's basically a toddler at this point. And the doctor probably thinks, I suppose she just blocked out all memories associated with Mamiana. Can't blame the poor girl. It might be the best thing for them, in fact. So in other words, that was so horrific that it's probably good that they are blotting this out, where they can't remember it anymore, because probably the imagery would be pretty savage, And of course, you see the doc there on his knees. There, he's at he's there at Mamiana. He says, "It was a hell they weren't built to bear. Half a day, and if I had come half a day earlier, I could have at least saved the children, But no, Finch. I guess Dr. Finch, his name. You had to do those extra drinks, I'm so sorry, And he's kind of lamenting the fact that he kind of, dallied a little bit. He was probably maybe at a bar or something like that, and wanted to just get a couple of beers or something like this, and he's kind of sitting there, just feeling pretty shitty about the whole thing, and then this I guess a medic comes up to the doctor, and he leads him into this tent where they have Yoko and Erica, and they're kind of in there, and he's kind of takes them in, that kind of thing. So, and then they're about to embark on an adventure, you know, in his van. And then Erica says, "What's wrong, Doc? Did something sad happen?" And he says, "No, it's nothing, dear. We're not going to Mamiana. It's a bit further, but we're actually going to Kuristat in Cydonia territory. So, you know, they after they've eaten their lunch, I guess they take off, you know." And he says, "We'll look for your family there, Erica." And then Erica sees this picture and she says, "Who's that in the picture?" And then the doc says, "That's my daughter." So anyway, there's a picture of she died. He starts a picture of his daughter and his wife, you know, and he was telling her, so she died of sickness when we were just about your age. She was just about your age. I was too busy with my work to be with her when it happened. It's a regret that still weighs upon me now. So I'll at least make sure you girls get home to a place where you can live in peace and safety, you know." So it shows him driving, you know, in his van, which I guess is something that he's converted into a portable hospital of sorts. And anyway, the people are still going. You know, he says all these people are fleeing to Cydonia to escape the violence of the war. And of course, Erica and Yoko are waving and that kind of stuff. Or at least Yoko sees a little girl in the crowd. She waves to him. The little girl waves back. And then it's Erica, that I think, that says, "What's that, doctor?" And she's referring to that column. And it's a column that actually, you know, sits up, holds up the dome itself. And it's it's a, I can't pronounce that, I guess, Saleh pillar, I guess. Anybody that speaks German out there, it's S-A-U-L-E, a pillar. I think that's what it stands for. I can't pronounce it though, you know. And Lee, are you still with us here? I mean,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I'm over in the other tab and I can't go back and forth and know what's going on, you know, so feel free. Chip in anytime you want.
I was actually just going to type out. I was going to mention I Googled Cydonia Mars to see if there was a real Cydonia on Mars. Turns out there is. It's a place that has the face formation on it.
Yeah, I think the places.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, the places that Kishiro puts in the names of the places that Kishiro puts in the manga is actual places on Mars. Now, of course, there's no people living there, obviously. But you know, he actually did, take those places and put them in his story, you know. So
I didn't doubt it was a real name. I was just kind of curious to see what Google had to say about it.
Yeah. So anyway, they see this pillar, you know, and then Erica says, "Ooh, it's so big," you know, because I mean, something that would hold up a dome like that. And you can see that a couple other pillars in the background back there. From a distance, you know, they would look small, you know, but, you know, when you get up close to them like that, they're probably humongous, you know. And you have to remember that Mars has not been fully terraformed. You know, they had to build these domes, you know, and then pressurize them, you know, with oxygen and nitrogen, stuff like that, so people could actually survive there, you know. Now, certainly the gravity is about 38% of Earth, so I don't know what that's going to do to their physiology, but you know, still.
Well, there was a video that sort of dove into that a little bit. It mentioned something called chicken leg syndrome, where humans' leg muscles would atrophy to the point of being really skinny.
Wow, really? Whoa.
Yeah, because they don't get much workout, 38% gravity.
So that'd be what us weightlifters would say, skipping leg day, right?
Skipping leg day for your entire life, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, they drive by this pillar, and you see up close it is gigantic, but in the distance it looks like just almost like a string coming down or something like that, you know. And that's probably 10 miles away or more, you know, or 15 kilometers away, just those pillars. And the one in the far distance, it could be like 25 kilometers away. I mean, who knows, you know, how far away is it? It certainly doesn't go in that. But if it's really huge like this, and this looks to be about like half of it that's up close there, that's a pretty good distance to those other two pillars. think it's Soleil, I think is what German, Soleil. Anyway. So anyway, Erica says, I've seen them from far away, but I didn't realize that they were so big up close. And as the name suggests, they're literal pillars that hold up the Baltichan canopy of Mars. So it's holding up this big dome, so so the atmosphere can support life, And of course, I guess Kishiro goes into a little bit of a scientific thing here about Mars. He says Mars' atmosphere is too thin for us to survive, so the Baltichan makes it possible for us to live here. We'll be coming up on Cydonia 1, the barrier wall to Cydonia, so they're still driving along,
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going along and all this kind of stuff. And there's another truck or something up, or another RV looking thing, van or whatever up in front of them. And all of a sudden there's this noise, and one of the refugees says, "What was that?" And another one says, "An explosion up in the sky." And basically then, the atmosphere starts getting sucked out, so something has happened. Either this is ruptured or somebody, kind of, I guess they may have sabotaged it, in some way. And then Erica screams, why did the windows turn white? And then the doctor says, that's frost, the atmospheric pressure's dropping. Uh-oh, that sounds like, and of course,
I think there might be a slight problem with the StreamYard. It seems to be, because you're on a page that it's not showing me yet for some reason. It's been lagging really badly.
Wow,
Not sure what the problem is.
Yeah, I don't know. It shows, the stream is still up. Maybe it's just my internet's not doing too well here.
All right, well, it changed now, so.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, because it's showing up on the stream, at least at YouTube. But yeah, you're right. It's laggy, isn't it? I apologize. I'm not sure there's a whole lot I can do about it.
Oh, well.
Oh, well, yeah. So anyway, there's that explosion at the top of the dome there. And of course, that spells bad news, because if it explodes like that, or if there's a rupture in it, all the atmosphere is going to get sucked out, and it'll be more like the real atmosphere on Mars, which is like 0.6% of the Earth's atmosphere. So you can't breathe it, plus there's no oxygen, so
there was a computer game I played called Surviving Mars, where you have to terraform Mars.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things they had were these massive megastructure satellites that you could put up in orbit that were like these huge artificial magnetic shields that would prevent the solar wind from eroding the atmosphere.
Whoa.
So you didn't actually need to use a dome or anything.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Seems a bit more, bit safer than a dome like this.
Yeah, a dome that would be built like that would be really stiff and brittle. It seems like it would be unstable if it got some external force, or say like some micrometeorite even. Well, maybe not a micrometeorite, but because we get meteors and meteorites on Earth a lot. There's tons, millions of tons every year, that we get, from space, and I'm sure Mars gets the same thing. So if something of any size hits that thing and it's brittle, it's, it's gonna crack.
Well, it does depend on what it makes it, what it's made out of. But yeah, having an actual physical structure like that holding your atmospheric pressure in does seem like it's got a whole lot of its own problems that come with it.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, it'd be better off if you could make it flexible some way,
Or like maybe like I was mentioning in the video game, that massive satellite megastructure that generates a artificial magnetic field to keep the solar wind from blowing the atmosphere away.
Yeah, that's well, that's right. It would have to emit electromagnetic radiation,
because the Earth has the Van Allen belts to keep
yes.
the solar winds from eroding our own atmosphere. So
yeah, that's right. That, and I guess the natural magnetism of the core and the Earth rotating and stuff like that. So
No, that's
I
what
guess.
generates the magnetic field.
Yeah. So
as far as I'm aware, Mars is too geologically dead to have that.
yes. Yeah, it doesn't have a Van Allen belt or a magnetic field, so they're really screwed in terms of that. In terms of that,
I think the Van Allen belt is basically the magnetic shield.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
I think it might be an actual separate portion of the magnetic field. I'm not certain.
Yeah. I don't know. Where's Maxie? Yeah. Yes. Where's Maxie when we need him?
Well, we have the next best thing.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, the
Lord Google.
Professor Google, yes. So anyway, the doctor and Erica and Alita, are, and you can see on the left there, the doctor's sweating it. He's saying, "Oh my God, this is a problem." It is a big
when
problem.
your atmosphere goes on vacation, that tends to be a bit alarming.
Yeah, this would be. I don't know if anybody, now surely no one on the stream and either of us have actually experienced explosive decompression like you would have in a plane that was flying at high altitude, but it would probably be like this on a massive scale, where, any kind of hole that would be in something like that. Now it had to be bigger than a pinhole, obviously, but I mean, any significant size rupture in this dome, it's going to suck everything out into space is what it's going to do, and I don't know how high this dome is either. I mean, we could,
I would imagine it's pretty good, pretty high up there, I would think. I mean,
because say this is 15 kilometers away, this first one right here, you see where my cursor is, that thing could be at least 10 kilometers high, wouldn't it? I mean, it would be at least that high, I think. So this is a massive structure right here. Yes. I can't imagine the engineering that would have to go into something like this.
Yeah.
Certainly
like Batman was saying, the Van Allen belt is a region of solar radiation trapped by the Earth's magnetic field. So it's like I think it's part of what generates the thing called a plasma shield that shields the sun from, or the Earth from, the sun's solar wind that it emits constantly.
Yeah. Welcome, Chaos. I was in the other tab there. I need to hook up my second monitor to this thing so I know what's going on better. But welcome from Mentor, Ohio. I like Badman's comment there. He says, never experienced explosion, but I've heard it sucks. Yeah, it does. Absolutely, Okay, well, let's go back to it, I guess. So, yeah, that's probably at least 10 kilometers high, at least. I mean,
it's got to be up there.
Yeah, we can't tell. We don't have any frame of reference, to measure it, but
yeah.
That's pretty high. So anyway, there they are, and this thing is, I don't know if it just starts cracking or if it was sabotaged or whatever, But anyway,
well, those flashes seem to indicate somebody might have attacked it.
Yeah, that could be explosions, couldn't it? I mean, because they did say an explosion up in the sky. So yeah, you're right. That's probably somebody trying to.
I guess it depends on what kind of fanatical force they're up against. That's trying to bring about whatever sort of world they're fighting for. I don't know. It's some kind of extremist that's desperate to do something.
And this is before the fall too, I think. I don't think that this is
well, in the manga, they never actually had a fall. It was just a series of constant disasters and geocatastrophes that kept besetting Earth. They never had an actual war between Earth and Mars the way they did in the movie.
Oh, so it's just a movie thing, the movie verse then, I guess.
Yeah, this whole thing is, from what I understand, it's a big civil war between various factions within the Martian colonies.
Yeah. Well, anyway, whatever it is, you're right, Lee. It does look like explosions at somebody's, and especially this guy says an explosion up in the sky. I mean, if it was just a crack, I don't know if that would be an explosion. I maybe would. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, you got multiple flashes there, and couple of different areas that look like they're weakening the dome.
Yeah, right down there at the bottom. Yeah. Anyway, this is not gonna be good. So anyway, there's Erica. Why did the windows turn white? And of course, the doctor says it's frost because the atmospheric pressure is dropping. And he says that sounds like, and of course, the canopy rupturing. And you see things are starting to get sucked out of it right there. And that's pretty much it. That's where things end right there. Oof. So
I found out what the problem was. It was on my end.
It was a what?
It was on my end. Apparently, Baldur's Gate 3 started updating, and I had to pause it to save bandwidth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, let's go back and take another look at some things here. Just that's the wrong key, I guess. So we start out with DOS and Gilliton and Rocco, the three of them. They're after Alita. And of course, I'm not sure they know Erica is alive yet.
Oh, the bad man, the Terraforming Wars, which I think is a series of wars that they had on Mars.
Okay. Well, anyway.
I can't remember if there are any other extra Martian forces that were involved in it. I think it was strictly against the Martians. I think. Can't remember.
So I guess the folks that wrote the script for the movie, that being Lita Calligridis and James Cameron, probably just translated that over to the fall, right, or the Great War, the fall. So it's
possibly, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's the three of those bounty hunter looking guys, they're after Alita and they don't know Erica's with her. They maybe they do because the little brats survived. So anyway, we see them where they come up on the army there that they are disposing of the bodies, I suppose, and
that's the thing. That's one of the things that makes me wonder about that one officer that the bounty hunters talked to. How he was talking about how this other force did it and we're going to get back at them for it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, then why are you disposing of the bodies the way you are?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's got me kind of thinking, it's like maybe this is like a false flag that they did to blame the other side to get additional popular support for them massacring the other guys.
Yeah, maybe the weaponry they have leaves signatures on the bodies or something like that would point to them. So they, or something,
Or there'd be some kind of clues that an investigation could look into and find. So they got to get rid of the evidence.
And of course,
well, I think it just vaporized the water part of them and left behind the dust.
Yeah. Let me see. There was one. Where's the one I was looking for? I was looking for the one that showed the hand coming up. That one right here. Maybe some of these folks were still alive. They were just so weak that they couldn't move or anything, So
they
were alive.
It could also just be it was like a dramatic picture.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, but certainly it removes all doubt. Putting them in that acid or whatever it is, that decomposing,
or that enzyme thing that they were
enzymic,
there,
yeah. Anyway, they can't get their DNA evidence, so they're screwed. They can't get their bounty. At least they think they're screwed at this point. And of course, the commander of the brigade there, or of the squad, says, "Get the hell out of here! I don't have a list, and I'm not going to give you a list. And beat it. Basically, is what he's saying. Mm-hmm. Get out of here." And of course, then they're sitting around bitching about it. Oh crap, we're not going to get our money and all this stuff, or we're not going to complete our mission. And they, DOS is teasing, I guess, Gilliton, I guess, about the whole thing. And then that what, Lee, that could be propaganda there in the middle, right? Where they're saying that they're going to get the wind group or whatever they were called. And, that's what it is.
Just what I was thinking. It's like the something that governments in the real world will do. They'll generate a propaganda type campaign to drum up support for a certain conflict or something.
Yeah. Calling them the wind miscreants too. That's
Mhm.
classic propaganda stuff, I guess. So,
Yep.
and then they see him. He says, "Okay." He says they're alive. So I guess they know Erica is also with them. I guess they know that, but they know Alita's or Ryoko rather is that's who they're really after, you know. But so I guess the army rescues them, and then certainly the doctor, you know, gets them, you know, from the army and is going to what
Actually,
he
here's
thinks.
a question I had. The uniform that those troops are wearing, the armor, is it anything similar to the armor that the guys were wearing that went into the sewers and
Yes.
hid?
Yes.
Yeah. The head.
Okay, so it's the same people that attacked him then.
Yeah.
The same uniform, anyways.
Mm.
Yeah, well, you can see that headpiece that one medic's wearing right there. It's the same headpiece that the other that the soldiers were wearing. So, except it didn't have a cross on it, obviously. But yeah,
Like the
you're
one that
right.
stabbed the little girl with his knife.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't sure. That seems to indicate there's a bit of a false flag going on here.
Yes. Death to the rebels. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely propaganda right there. And then of
Yeah,
course
I've seen that
says
kind of
it.
shit enough in the real world to think that
Yeah.
seems like a good likelihood of what's going on.
Yep. And of course they're alive, the damn lucky brats. Yes. So anyway, the doc's got them. They're asleep. They're kind of safe. They're relatively safe at this point. Looks like Erica's snoring, doesn't it?
Mhm.
And of course, there's their first exposure to. If Angelus was here, I'd say Vegemite, but it's B-mite. Yeah, yeah. I remember the first time I tried Vegemite. I spread it on really thin, boy. I did. You know, I've seen some of these guys over in Australia. They just take a spoon and eat it right out of the
Mhm.
out of the container, the glass. You know, oh
Yeah,
wow,
when I
boy.
first tried it, I had a thin layer of it spread on a saltine cracker, and I actually liked it. I liked the saltiness and stuff of it. So
Yeah, I mean, if you spread it thin enough, I mean, I liked it too. You know, it wasn't, but I can imagine if you spread it on thick, it's gonna. You got to get
it could
used
be a
to it.
little overpowering, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, at least they got something to eat, you know, and of course now they think they're going to on a beautiful adventure. You know, they're going to go make some new friends there over in the Sidonia Wand. You know, they figure that the doc's hoping that he finds their family too, I guess, or at least he's telling them that to keep them, you know, from freaking out. So,
Mhm.
and then of course the one medic, you know, takes them to the tent, and there they are, and he takes them in, you know, and they start traveling, you know. That's kind of a neat, cute little scene right there. Alita sees this little girl that's one of the refugees and starts waving to her, and she waves back. You know, that's something you would see kids do, you know,
Yeah.
wave to another little kid at least. And then there's that Soleil pillar, I guess. What Soleil is actually the name of pillar. And then, of course, there's where we were a while ago, and there's no telling how high this is. I guess at least 10 kilometers, at least. You know, I think, you know, and this, you know, it's huge when you're up front, so that's got to be a long way away right there. You know, I guess if you assumed that was half the size of this pillar, you could probably calculate it. You know, you don't know how big this. Well, I guess you could say you know how big that truck is. I guess that RV, and then you could put together some estimates. You know, about how far away that is and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, and of course they're in awe of the pillar being so big, and they're still traveling. And then that's when we come to the explosions there on the dome. And of course, then all the atmosphere starts getting sucked out, and that's where the story ends right there. So So Kishiro leaves us hanging again, like he does all the time.
Yep.
Well, I guess there's no more parking spaces.
I guess not.
Either no more parking spaces or there's going to be a lot of empty parking spaces, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah,
It's
There's
like I'm trying to remember the film. It's like you remember the newer Mad Max Fury Road when they have a dust storm so huge that they just drive right through it. It looks a lot like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some of your stuff here in the chat, Chaos. So
Let me get the link to Martian Gothic, the page about it.
okay. I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there so folks can. Okay, yeah, Chaos put in there the Van Allen belt. He put the same. You're saying the same thing that the bad man was saying. That's a belt of charged particles caused by the Earth's magnetic field. So I didn't know we had two scientists on the stream. So. Okay, well, any other thoughts about this, guys? It's going to be a short stream, I think. That's why I went back to 4 o'clock. I thought maybe Channel and possibly Matu would come on, and I wanted to keep it.
Did she say she had like some kind of exams coming up? I don't know.
Yeah, I think she did. That's right. I think she said something about that in on Radio Chaos last week. Yeah, that's right. Beamite, Vegemite, Marmite. Marmite's tastes a little different than Vegemite. I know my mother was English and she loved Marmite. I never could acquire a taste for it. Vegemite, I liked Vegemite better, but that's not saying a lot. And of course, Beamite's probably just a fictitious, concoction, that's similar to Vegemite or Marmite at least. So what you got in the private chat there? Okay, there it is. Okay.
Now, this is kind of interesting. There's something called a South Atlantic anomaly, an area where Earth's inner Van Allen radiation belt comes within 120 miles of the Earth's surface.
Right, and in fact, it follows along the magnetic field, so it goes into the North or South Pole too. And when the Van Allen belt gets so low that it's colliding with the atmosphere, the particles get lit up, hence the northern lights. Now, sometimes with the actual solar flare, you can have it happen away from the magnetic poles, and that's where you get. That's what happens during a really strong solar flare if it hits the atmosphere.
I wonder if the wind group is the group that set those explosions on the dome. It could be, or it could be, like you say, Lee, it could be just some extremists, doing it.
Well, I was actually mentioning, just depends on what kind of extremists that the one group there was fighting. Because it depends on how desperate your enemy is to achieve whatever objectives they're going for. What kind of extent that or what kind of actions they'll end up taking. I mean, if they're extreme enough, they may not even care how badly they themselves get affected by their own actions. Yeah,
there's a scene in I guess there's a scene in Riddick, the Chronicles of Riddick, where he saves Kira, and he says, "What's this? You don't care if you live or die?" And she says, "As long as I kill them first, no." So maybe that's maybe the thing that they were thinking of, although she does relent on that later when it looks like she really is going to die. So
Yeah, it reminds me of that quote. I can't remember what story it was from. It was killing you was the point. Living through it was a luxury.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. If anybody wants to come on the stream and talk about this, you're sure welcome to do it. So let's see if we got it. Because I am going to hook up my other monitor. I got to do it because I can't keep up, if I don't.
Oh, this is interesting. Something called the Pamela experiment while passing through the, the South Atlantic anomaly detected anti-proton levels that were orders of magnitude higher than expected.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's antimatter.
yeah. This suggests that the Van Allen belt confines antiparticles produced by the interaction of the Earth's upper atmosphere with cosmic rays.
Whoa.
Oh, well, the magnetic field isn't perfect. It just has a certain amount of repulsive force.
Yeah.
And antiparticles have a charge. It's just that it's the opposite electrical charge of their material equivalent. So antiproton is negative charge. Positron or anti-electron is a positive charge.
Yeah,
so
it's just
on.
surprising to me that there's even antimatter there. I thought that was only
I mean, if you're in a near vacuum, the near vacuum condition could let it last longer.
Yeah.
In the atmosphere, not so much.
Yeah.
Because there was a mod in Kerbal
antimatter.
Space Program that allowed you to generate antimatter fuel for an experimental warp drive. I thought that was just something in the mod, and it turns out it's like a real thing.
Well, it's real, but it takes a huge amount of energy and like very close to the speed of light in a particle accelerator to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess in the 23rd century, they're going to figure that out, aren't they? In Star Trek.
Or something, yeah.
Trilithium compound or something?
Yeah, that's
Something.
right.
Well, trilithium compound is Star Trek anyways. Or dilithium, sorry.
Dilithium.
Yeah, and then we need to figure out how to channel it into an antimatter microreactor. Now we need to figure out how to get the antimatter microreactor to work. And then get the antimatter in there.
The problem is that it's a huge amount of energy for microscopic quantities.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to have a magnetic bubble in there, that's for sure. Because if you don't, as soon as it touches any real matter, matter. If antimatter touches real matter, they're gonna annihilate each other. So,
Mm-hmm.
And the bad man here brings up a good point that I was saying a while ago, that Mars' atmospheric pressure is 0.6% of what Earth's atmospheric pressure is. So.
Yep.
So yeah, 0.006. That's right. So it's closer to a vacuum than it is actually an atmosphere. That's for sure.
Yep.
It's
just enough an atmosphere to be considered an atmosphere. Not much more than that.
Yeah, barely. Yeah. And he was saying that there is a Cydonia on Mars. It's near Acidalia Palicia. Which was that was a place in The Martian too, as well. So that's a great movie too. I've watched it. I like that movie a whole lot. Whoa! Is Vegemite banned in Canada? Whoa! I didn't know that. Why is that? Is it because it's yeast? I guess maybe people get drunk off of it. I'm not sure. Why you would ban Vegemite or even Marmite? If you ban Vegemite, you got to ban Marmite because it's basic. It's similar, Let's see. I'm going through the chat here. I want to get everybody's comment, as many as I can at least. So. It looks like Smendrick is having some issues there with illness, so he's looks like he's having to cut out early. So yeah, that's right.
He's doing okay.
Yeah. 373 years after Sputnik. So yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, well, I can't think of anything else, you guys. Can you think of anything you might want to bring up here? Badman says that we need to figure out how to channel it. Yeah, that would be how we could get that into an antimatter microreactor. Yeah, you're going to need a magnetic bubble, that's for sure. If you don't have that, it's going to be difficult to do it, Lee, you got anything else?
Afraid not. No.
How about you, Chaos? I think Chaos maybe is muted because, you know, he's he has to watch his kids, and if they get too rambunctious, I guess he has to keep his mic muted. Yeah, that's right, Bad Man. Yeah, that magnetic bubble, it cannot stay off even for a microsecond, because if it can't, you know, it can't take a power hit even for a microsecond, because if it does, it's game over. That's what it is. So yeah, that's right, Bad Man. Yeah, it's fermented yeast. Yeah, that's right. So Vegemite is. I think Marmite is too, or it might be. I'm not sure about Marmite. I know my mother used to love Marmite, but you know. Anyway. All right, guys. I guess did we miss anything?
I don't think so.
Cool. Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot to miss. Usually the manga streams are pretty short, you know. So maybe the Creek will have to come up with something else. Maybe 2 topics next time, you know. And as you can see there, Alita's okay with it, because from that center image, Alita does love her Uncle Creek. That's for sure. So, you know, and if you don't think that's a good idea, if you think it's a bad idea, then you can take it up with her. And this is our Queen Rosa right here, and you know, certainly we want that sequel, and we want her to come back and be Alita and all that kind of stuff, because she was great, man. I remember the first time I saw it, her performance knocked my head off. I mean, it was just unbelievable. You know, because at first I didn't think I wanted to see it, you know, because it was like teenage girls beating up on robots and cyborgs and such. I'm not sure I care much about that, you know, until I saw it and I went, oh my God, you know, I couldn't believe it. It was so good, you know. And of course, we want to give a shout out also to El Lamont and Jesse Fisher. You know, they brought Screwhead to life, and we want to see Screwhead come back, Disney. You know, when you do Alita 2 and we get into the Motorball arc, we want Screwhead to be on Alita's team when she takes on Joshigan. You know, I mean, that's going to be that's going to be an epic arc right there in the movie. You know, seeing Alita fight Joshigan, but certainly Screwhead and others like Adjicutty and so forth, they'll be in it too. You know, so we want to see them come back. All 3 of these ladies. Certainly, Rosa's going to come back as Alita for sure, but we also want Screwhead to come back because they're all great. They're super duper professionals at what they do. And as the Creek says every week, it sure don't hurt that they're pretty. So, and they are. Okay, well, I guess tomorrow we're going to have another manga reading. It's going to be Gundam Angel of Death, Hell Beast, Journey 4, Dog Eat Dog. So, you know, if any of you are not reading the manga, you know, I guess you can tune in, you know, and kind of catch up on it that way, you know, because Maxie does a really good job at, you know, reading the manga and all that. He does a lot better job than I do reading the manga, that's for sure, you know. And it's going to be a lot of fun, you know. I really enjoy the manga readings a lot, you know, because it's a subject and a character we all love, you know. So we want to make sure you see this, you know, tomorrow on Radio Chaos, and that'll be about 23 hours after this stream. And I got to say, why is this image here? Well, that image is there because I like it. And I am the producer and stream manager. So that's my call. And to paraphrase Grishka, I'm only here for our girl and the Alita Army. And of course, all of us are here for our girl and the Alita Army. Because Disney, we want that sequel. Come on, Disney, get it to us, man. So anyway, that said, that brings us to one last thing, and that's the call to action. And that would be on my count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Baby. All right, well, that wasn't too bad. So, all right, we'll catch you next week on the Alita live stream, and we'll catch you tomorrow on Radio Chaos.
Take care, guys.
All right, bye.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby! See you next time!